Braddock, Pennsylvania. At first glance, it doesn't look as though it's the type of town that you make a movie about. But 3 or 4 years ago, a big national television network came along, and they made a movie about our town, and they called it Steel Town Blues. And they implied that Braddock was dying. Well, what we intend to do is suggest to you just the opposite, that Braddock, and especially Braddock's people, are very, very much alive. These are the stacks of the first steel mill that Andrew Carnegie ever built. It's called the Edgar Thompson Works. And as you look down the valley, below the stacks, you'll see the town of Braddock. It may look as though there's a lot of waste coming out of those stacks. But from that waste comes a wealth, really. And the wealth of Braddock lies in its people. We like to think Braddock people are just a little different from the ordinary people you'd find, say, in upper middle class suburbia. And what we're going to do in this film is show you some of those people, 2 people in particular that we think make Braddock a very special place. These 2 people are Raymond Thomas and Sharon Brieger. It's also about their friends who are the students of St. Thomas District High School, and about a lot of the people in Braddock, Pennsylvania. As you can see, as you read some of the credits, there's no one particular nationality group that has a hold on Braddock. It's the original American melting pot. As we said, this is a film about people. All kinds of people. Some very young people. Young people with most of their problems still ahead of them. This one seems to have a particularly pressing one right now. And old people, too, that have solved most of their problems. People of all different nationalities, races, religions, all in Braddock. And some with unusual occupations. It's not that often that you find a paper girl, especially a paper girl named Annabelle. But this is the man with whom we're mainly concerned. His name's Ray. He goes to high school, St. Thomas District High School. And he's fairly typical. He's having lunch here with some of his friends. You'll meet more of them later. Later on in this film, he's going to meet a very charming young lady named Sharon. They don't know each other yet, but like all kids everywhere, they're going to meet and something is going to happen. This is a typical dance at St. Thomas in Braddock. You have the stag line, a number of gentlemen standing in front of the gentleman's room. This is Ray and Ray's gang. It's Pat and Dale and Joe, and all the typical names. And they're fairly typical kids, except we think they're just a little bit special. Nothing very special about the dance, though. As you can see, mostly the girls are dancing with the girls. Later on in the evening, a few of the couples that go steady may get together, and then a few that aren't quite so interested may decide to go out and, buy a pizza. Go out and look for something different to do. We all get restless. These are the Dominican Sisters that run St. Thomas District High School. It's the oldest Catholic high school west of the Alleghenies. They've been here for almost 53 years. And while it's not Choate, we managed to send a lot of our graduates to Notre Dame, Fordham, Georgetown. Here you see some of our future graduates waiting for school to start, protected by the strong, watchful arm of the law. And here we find our friend Ray in typing class. We've all had bad days, and it looks as though this may be one of Ray's bad ones, too. Such dejection. But that's what a good teacher's for. She can always re-inspire confidence in the pupil, and Ray will get back to his typewriter. But he'll probably be a lot happier when school's over and things look just a little brighter. Provided you know the right places to go. It's kind of a fallacy to think you have to live out in the suburbs for recreation. This certainly isn't the country club, but then there's no lifeguard around telling you, hey kid, stop hanging off the diving board. And How many country clubs have their own barges that you can hitch rides on sometimes? Chlorine in the water to hurt your eyes either. Of course, the locker room facilities aren't quite what they might be, but as long as you're discreet, you can get by. If you prefer indoor sports, meet Willie, director and proprietor of the Braddock Recreational Center. A long time before billiard parlors became fashionable in the suburbs, Braddock had its own version of the billiard parlor. Places to meet girls, and one of the best places is at the local drive-in. I think Pat in the back has spotted someone parked nearby that looks as though they might make good company for the evening. And of course, Ray's not the sort of guy who can refuse a dare, so he goes over to try to strike up a little social rapport. Unfortunately, his technique apparently isn't too good, and he almost loses a couple of fingers in the process. He's not one to give up easily, though. One last try. Well, maybe tomorrow night, Ray. Sometimes when you're 17, you just feel like you've got to be alone for a while. It's a tough age to be. There are a lot of things you'd like to know that you don't know yet, and you're not really sure just how you're going to find them out. But a walk along the tracks, solitude in the midst of Braddock, sometimes can solve a lot of things. Well, things can't stay bad forever. you always have a new day and a new face in class. Sharon's had to make a few adjustments in her class schedule, and as fate would have it, she gets assigned the seat in her new class directly across from you-know-who. A new class schedule can be confusing. And of course, Ray, naturally, is the man to help. Some people might call him a quick worker. This isn't what you'd call a quiet walk in the park, but it serves the same purpose. It's quiet, and they're alone. Someplace to be by yourself. Unfortunately, with a woman comes responsibility. So we find Ray in the employ of Mr. Blumenfeld, a local Braddock merchant who has recognized Ray's obvious talents and given him a job. Ray hasn't quite mastered the technique of the apron yet, but apparently, if nothing else, he's earned his week's pay because Mr. Blumenfeld seems pleased enough with his work to pay him. We don't want to say that a fool and his money are soon parted, but, well, sometimes you need a status symbol to impress people. And, well, if Ray lived in the suburbs, he might say, "Hey, Dad, can I have the keys to the car tonight?" But in Braddock, it doesn't quite work that way. If you want the keys to the car, you go out and buy the car. Maybe at the rear of the lot, we might find something that's a little more in Ray's price range. As you can see, Ray has had the foresight to bring along a number of well-qualified automotive consultants in purchasing his first machine. Well, the deal has been transacted, and Ray is now the proud owner of, well, we don't guarantee it to be anything except an automobile. And here we are, back at the country club. And like all country clubs, it's not just a place to swim, but a place to socialize. We've all heard of being alone in a crowd, but sometimes it only takes two to make a whole crowd. I would say that the boy has a good deal of promise and even present prowess, but he definitely lacks teamwork. Well, maybe not. After all, this can be a sport for all seasons. I think what we see across the street is Ray's old gang. They're certainly not loitering. They're just passing the time. What's this? It's Ray and his status symbol. I'm talking about the car, not the girl. Naturally, at precisely the wrong time, Ray manages to stall the car. The crowd is highly amused. Can Sharon start the car? Can Ray get the hood open? Hey, what's the matter, kid? Don't you even know how to get the hood open, huh? Well, those older models did have a problem there. Well, apparently it did start. And Ray and his heroine ride off. Not exactly into the sunset, but into some place where Ray's seen sadder times. And right now they don't seem quite so sad, do they? You can go back to a lot of places where you've been before and not be with the same people and still have a better time. No, it's not that Ray has a new girl. That's his mother, who's been kind enough to fix him that extra cup of coffee after dinner. Unfortunately, Ray has to use the phone, and so does his mother. The typical argument ensues. Boy, the treatment I get around here. You know, really, if you won't let me use the phone, I might as well go live in Boys Town. Now, possibly if Ray lived in the suburbs, he might have his own separate phone. But he doesn't. He lives here, in Braddock, where it's beginning to get dark. And the mill, omnipresent as ever, looms in the background. Well, I guess in a way Ray does have his own private phone. Well, maybe not private, but at least personal. Now, she can't be reading that paper. Could she possibly be waiting for something? Like a phone call. Perhaps a chance to go out on the really big date. Well, I just thought I'd call and see how you were. Gee, yeah, I guess I'd like to a lot. Who said, vanity, thy name is woman? Gosh, Ray, I hope you remembered the money. Well, it is a little bit high, but this is a special date. And after the theater, what is more traditional than dinner? The only trouble is, I don't know where to find the head waiter. Well, after all, the best pleasures They're simple. Like a ray of sunshine on an old cobblestoned Braddock street. But even in Braddock, you can find grassy fields, green sometimes, brown others, and I think this time someone wanted to get caught. Underneath the bough, a chocolate bar, a jug of wine, and thou. Forgive me, Omar Khayyam, but I think you felt the same way when you wrote what you did. Obviously, these people know what an American playwright said quite some time ago. In the time of your life, live, so that in that good time there shall be no ugliness or death for yourself or any life that touches yours. Be the inferior of no man, nor of any man be the superior. Remember that every man is a variation of yourself. Despise evil and ungodliness, but not men of ungodliness or evil. These understand. In the time of your life, live, so that in that wondrous time you shall not add to the misery and the sorrow of the world, but shall smile to the infinite delight and mystery of it.